the brofist to you all, you wonderful people. I have returned once again from the darkness, from the shadows, from the valleys, from the pit of hell itself. Let's move the camera. The pit of hell itself. I did in fact have to skip the daily yesterday as math got in the way. I mathematically calculated I did not have the time to finish capping every single character before Friday. That math got in the way. I had lots of characters left and not a lot of time to finish it. Perhaps I shouldn't have spent a day playing Neocrom. Perhaps I shouldn't have spent a day playing Dead Space. Whatever. No regrets, right? No regrets. I don't give a shit. That's what happened. So therefore I punished myself sadistically by running what was almost going to be a very long 36-hour long stream. Kind of to the blessing of my wonderful fiancée. At 3 AM, after nearly 17 long hours, she opened the door and told me politely to shut the F up. Coming an end to that stream, I managed to get myself a solid 2.5 hours of sleep before we started streaming again today. So yeah, that's how it's been. But thank you very much to the several hundred of you who stayed with me for 17 hours. 17 hours. And to those of you who got up, watched the stream, went to work, did all your stuff, came home, and are still streaming, still leveling. Yes, we have done Krasarang Wild 11 times. We've done the Jade Forest 11 times, the Valley of the Four Winds 11 times, Kunlai Summit 11 times, and the Town Long Steps 10 times. Yeah, one character still remains at that blessed evil level 88. One character still remains. The Hunter, for no particular reason other than I know I can do it quite quickly on the Hunter, and other classes got in the way, like the Paladin. The Retribution Paladin, the nightmare that is the Retribution Paladin and that leveling process. Ugh. We got the Shaman up there. We've got everything else to 89 or above. Classes are ready to hit level 90. Will we make it by Friday? I don't know. I hope so. But we want to because on Saturday it is the Drinking Game Web Show. The Web Show on Drinking Game Web Show to celebrate the fact that Mr. Ghost is dinging IRL on Saturday. So we will be having a drinking game. It will get loud. It will get messy. It will get sloppy. And if you saw our Christmas one, we'll know what I'm talking about. Again, I remind you, if you are not old enough to drink, you cannot drink on my web show. Okay? I will not be held responsible. But if you are old enough and are obliged to, and the timing kind of fits, it's not like 3 o'clock in the morning, or you're about to go to work, or anything like that, then feel free to join in and have a good time. Whatever's your poison, you take it, you leave it. Ghost will be deciding the rules. I kind of worry that the rules will be slightly unfair towards me and biased towards him, but it is his birthday, and it should be good. I also have gifts for him, which he will receive on the web show, and not before. Not before. Alright, so it should be pretty good. We should hopefully be in good shape. Let's crack on with the daily. If I slur my words, it's because I haven't slept, okay? I've had 2 hours sleep in the past couple of days. So if I slur my words, you know that's what it is. I want to talk about, first of all, patch 5.2. We've got to talk about patch 5.2. It's probably 2 weeks away. Talk about like 12th of March, something along those lines, as we're actually going to see patch 5.2. I read the recent patch notes which say it's a release candidate. That doesn't mean it's the final build of patch 5.2, but it's likely to be that. It's likely to be the final one, okay? So it's looking a lot like that. I kind of want to talk more about patch 5.2 in a moment, because that kind of answers the big question that's on major people's minds. I can already see comments relating to what I'm going to talk about right now. The PS4 price has been released, £400, $800. That's how much it's going to run you to buy one of those bastards the second it comes out. Nearly $1,000 or £500. That's expensive. That's expensive. That is fucking seriously expensive. But that's kind of what it's going to look like. They're the biggest news that I've seen in patch 5.2. And nobody is talking about this. And it's the best thing ever. The AoE cap has been raised to 20 mobs. So many people are not rejoicing enough about this. I fucking cannot believe this is like headline fucking news. Are you kidding me? This is like just slipped in there. It's like, oh, the AoE cap's been raised to 20 mobs. I was like, heaven! This is heaven! This is the best thing that's ever fucking happened in the history of World of Warcraft. Are you fucking joking? And so many people around the world right now Thousands of you who watch this video on YouTube. The hundreds of you here right now go, what the fuck is the AoE cap? What are you talking about? Ah! This is the best thing ever. What is the AoE cap? The AoE cap is certain spells which just do AoE. Namely, Blizzard, Earthquake, Rain of Fire. All these kinds of spells have a hidden cap. And it was 10 mobs. It does ever-increasing AoE damage until it hits 10 mobs. And then it starts spreading the damage out evenly. So if you have 100 mobs, if you've ever AoE'd down 30 or 40 mobs, little pissant little mobs, surely you've noticed that your damage is really low. Surely when you've gone into Stoneguard LFR, you see things that are really weird. Like DKs and Hunters doing outrageous amounts of AoE damage compared to you. This is because of the AoE cap. A ridiculous, nonsensical mechanic that has been in the game for the longest fucking time. And allows certain classes to excel well beyond their means when doing AoE. Well beyond their means. Like crazily. Hunters are a great example. Survival Hunters with Serpent Spread. So why do they do so much damage? And why don't we? Why do they do so much AoE damage casting multi-shot? And I cast Blizzard and they just shit all over me from a huge, enormous height. It's because they debuff the mods with a dot. I tell you now, given the disease buffs that DKs have just got, DKs are going to be destroying if it comes to huge AoE. It really is. But this is a real good move in the right direction. They put a dot on the target. That's not an AoE spell. Is it? Serpent Sting is not an AoE spell. It's just a dot on every single mob. And their damage starts raising rapidly. Because you're AoE capped. Your Blizzard can't compete with dots on every single target. The best change ever. 20 mobs. We rarely ever have to AoE 20 mobs. This is magnificent. You should be so happy about this. And all these... I was seeing some hunters go, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I love doing my mad AoE and nobody can possibly keep up with me because they're AoE capped. I'm actually playing my class really well by pressing multi-shot repeatedly. Look at all the damage I'm doing. 300,000 damage. 400,000 DPS. I'm amazing. No, you're not. It's because of the shitty AoE cap that limits everybody else. That's all it does. It limits everybody else while your shitty dots start ticking for crazy amounts of damage. Yeah, Howling Blast. DKs are going to be crazy. DKs are going to be a little bit scary. Death Knights are going to be a little bit scary. They've just got a huge disease buff. If we start getting packs of a lot of mobs, I'm talking 20 plus, DKs are going to be in a scary AoE position. But that very rarely happens, so don't re-roll for that. That would be bad. Don't do that. Okay, big question. This email is flying left and right towards me in many different forms. Oh my god, Blizzard's nerfed my class into oblivion. How will my class be? How will it be? Will I be bad? Should I re-roll? Should I just sink? Should I just delete my character? I saw Arcane just got a huge nerf. What the fuck, man? I'm never going to do any damage ever again. I'm in this really bad situation. Ugh! What am I going to do? You're going to be fine. Relax. Okay? Everyone really reads information such as, oh my god, what was the Arcane one? I just got a 35% nerf. I got a 35% nerf on my Arcane mage. Why? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Now Arcane is terrible. Mage is terrible. I should delete the class. Everybody, even throughout the live stream, throughout the night, people are dropping and saying, have you seen the changes to my class? Do you think I should re-roll? Do you think do you think it's going to be bad? No. 5.2 is a really interesting beast. I haven't seen a patch this widespread in its changes ever. This is like an expansion patch. This is like the kind of patch changes and class changes that you get when we actually change the whole talent system. This is a major, major change. It's one of the biggest class changing patches I have ever seen. And it's weird because this is like the third patch in, or the second patch in. It's really, really weird that this many class changes are about to take place. Everybody's class in some fashion is being shaken up. Some of it is damage buffs. One of the crazy things about this is that every single class in some form or another has had some sort of flat damage change to spells. Rip just buffed by 35%. Arcane just smashed in the teeth. All these kind of things. Frostbolt just buffed right up by a flat number. I have never seen that before. I can't recall a time this has ever happened to every single class. And it's got everybody a little bit worried and shaken. And understandably so. Understandably so. People are really kind of terrified about what this means. You're going to be fine. I actually think this is a good thing. Blizzard seem to have stumbled across, we just need to alter the way these spells work. The mechanic's fine. Firing a frostbolt is fine. It just doesn't do enough damage. That's it, be all and end all. So many of you out there are really terrified right now that suddenly you're just going to be dropped from your raid. Like, instantaneously dropped from your raid for some reason. Warriors are getting huge changes. There's some classes that are getting changed dramatically. Some classes are just getting mass buffs. If we just look at a Death Knight alone, okay? Death Knights have been doing fine, right? Death Knights have been fine. Nobody's really complained about the Death Knight damage. In fact, when we do our LFR DPS races, which we kind of started on Friday, where we just dragged 2 tanks, 1 healer, and had loads of DPS and just let you guys go balls to the wall DPS to see what your class can produce, the DKs were number 1 and 2, which is interesting considering the widespread amount of people we have. But if we look at a DK alone, Might of the Frozen Waste, 15% melee damage, down from 20. Oh, it got nerfed. Icy Talons, attack speed reduced by 25%, down from 30%. Blood Plague and Frost Fever buffed by 15%, down from 30%. Howling Blast damage buffed by 8%. And look at everyone crying. Howling Blast buffed by 8%. Really? Howling Blast got buffed? Yeah, it did. Howling Blast single target damage got buffed, not its AoE. This is kind of a push towards dual wield if you read about it properly. Scourge Strike buffed by 3.8%, just damage plus 3.8%, down from 7.7%. Down from 7.7%. Scourge Strike and nerf. Execute, look at the Warriors. 25% nerf to Execute. 25% nerf. A 25% nerf to Execute. That's kind of sad, right? That's kind of sad. I think a lot of people are really pissed by that. I think a lot of people are really pissed by that. Which is a little bit scary. I don't like that. Shadow Ball increased by 15%. Everything just got some sort of change. Destruction, Conflag. Damage increased by 20%. Immolate increased by 20%. Incinerate increased by 10%. All this shit is coming in patch 5.2, a lot of it. I'm going to cover it in a video, a properly edited video. Kind of one of the reasons I need to finish on Friday with the leveling process. If this needs to be looked at, we need to get into it. But the big thing is, so many of you are panicking. So many of you are understandably panicking. You see all these changes and you're like, ugh. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what's happening. It's a lot of changes. Am I going to be okay? You're going to be fine. This seems to be one of the most rebalancing patches I've ever seen. And I want you to stress that. It's balancing. As they quite openly said about Arcane, Arcane was just too damn high. Okay, not to borrow from a meme, but Arcane was just too damn high. And they quite openly said it's just too fucking high. It's just crazy. We'd have to actually increase the boss health in order to combat why it's there. Their words were literally, why nerf Arcane into the ground instead of buffing Frost with a small Arcane? Again, the small way we look at things. The mages are like, oh, well, Frost should just do as much as Arcane if you want us to be like that. And they say, because Arcane is so far ahead, along with Affliction, which is also getting nerfed, we have to buff everyone in the game to compete with Arcane mages. And we would have to just buff the boss health in order to compensate for the fact that everybody will do Arcane-style numbers. It's a balancing issue, okay? Arcane is too damn high. And as much as you may damn enjoy destroying the damage meters as an Arcane mage, you're too high. Nothing more, nothing less. And you're going to be rebalanced around that idea. So this patch is amazing. I'm kind of wondering how this is going to pan out, if something's going to go incredibly wrong. The testing for patch 5.2 has been pretty long. And they're still giving themselves an extra couple of weeks. We kind of expected from their first post that we would see patch 5.2 today or tomorrow, depending on where you are in the world. But no, it looks like they're giving themselves an extra 2 weeks to balance this out, which still means a lot of changes could happen. So I'm kind of liking this, but it's really scaring a lot of you guys. It's really scaring a lot of you guys. Don't be afraid. This is actually a good thing. They're aiming for a damage meter to be a square block. No matter what class and specialization you are playing, this is kind of the advantage of the new talent system. I want you to see the process they've gone through now. As they know exactly what talent builds you've got in Mr. Pandaria, because that's just how it works. They just know what you're going to have, what spells you're going to be using, what kind of combos you're going to be using, and they are really only justifiably going to worry about the possible of 3 talent choices you've chosen which can affect DPS. It really makes balancing so much easier. This is why the new talent system is in the game, that they can decide, okay, this combination of things works, this is how the damage needs to go. If we buff this, that should put everybody in line. You should be a perfect line of DPSs. That's where you should be. We shouldn't have someone way, way ahead and people way, way at the bottom. That's not how it should work. Everyone should just play whatever you want. If you want to be a feral druid, you will do as much damage as a balanced druid. As a fire mage, you will do all the same amounts of damage. Of course, encounters can skew that, but if we do get a straight up DPS boss, ideally, given equal gear and equal skill level, the ability to press the right buttons, everybody should be just exactly the same. That's what they're aiming for, and hopefully we'll see that reflected in the top guild's logs. Do not worry. Play whatever you enjoy. So many of you are looking to re-roll to something that you think might be the best DPS. Or you're asking me, what will be the best DPS? If this patch goes through as it's supposed to go through, anything you fucking want to play and enjoy will be your best DPS class. That's it. If you love playing a feral druid, you should be fine. If you love playing balance, shadow, whatever it is, if you love playing that DPS class, you should be fine. You should be absolutely fine. Don't panic. Don't start looking around to re-roll. I need to start doing my dailies on my alt. I need to get my Valor points on my alt because blah 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 class is probably going to be higher. That's not going to work. Depending on encounter, some classes will be ahead than others. And maybe they'll rebalance it again in patch 5.3 and screw up my whole argument. But that may be the case. But so far, these big ups and downs, these huge changes are actually promising because they're like, okay, we need to fix this. We know what people are working with. We can do this. Every rogue picks this talent. We know exactly what talents, what gear, and what specs people have, what spells they have at their disposal. We've gone through that awkward phase that we spoke about earlier where people were finding out, oh, if I use Scorch with Arcane, I can stay at 6 blasts, which isn't what the game was supposed to do. If I do blah, blah, blah with Fire, I can do all this kind of crazy stuff, which resulted in huge, sweeping mage nerfs. We've gone through that phase, that sort of kiddie phase, the young phase of the expansion, where people are finding crazy ways of playing, and we've kind of fixed that out. So it's pretty good. So everybody good? And everyone's looking for tank DPS? Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. Another topic I wanted to touch on was a big email I was sent by one of our new subscribers. And it was pretty cool, actually. The Thunderforge thing we kind of bashed upon, but I want to point this out. I would say there's been 4 people who've come into my chat and said, I listened to what you said about 25-man raiding, and I've made the transition. From 10 to 25. I was worried about going 25 because of Blair. Because I wanted this tight-knit community. Because 10 promotes much more friendly awareness. All this kind of stuff. And about 4 or 5 of you have come ahead and said, you know what? I've got my first 25-man tonight. I'm still waiting for some feedback on that. Or you've done it for your first raid. This is how it went. So far, universally, 5 people, not a great sample size, I know, have massively enjoyed raiding 25 over 10-man. I mean, really enjoyed it so much more. One of the balance druids, oh no, it's an elemental shaman who came into the chat before, said the biggest thing, the biggest change about being in a 25-man, I was physically competing with somebody who was the same spec. It's a very protective bubble being in a 10-man because you're likely to be the only warlock, right? You're likely to be the only mage. And therefore, your DPS is just against other people, and certain encounters favour mages or favour DKs, and you can kind of get away with being in this nice protective bubble. In a 25-man, that does not exist. You're likely to have 2, 3, maybe even 4 mages, depending on the fight, a couple of rogues, a couple of warriors, a couple of DKs, and you're actively competing against each other. It's a wonderful way to inspire you to play better, because you actually compete against somebody who is the same as you. Looking at a damage meter and seeing you at number 1 and the other DK at number 2, and you're very close, really motivates you to just generally smash your keyboard harder in general. But it helps, right? You're competing against somebody. You're actively fighting against somebody who has exactly the same spellbook as you. And how are you going to use your class better? So far, universally, you've all been really good at this. So, a few people are going, I'm trying to go to 10 man. So I got this wonderful email, and it's kicked off with, I currently play on, to put it bluntly, a shit server. And now it's Earthen Ring EU. I don't know about Earthen Ring EU. I don't know much about it. But he's in a 10-man guild that's ranked relatively low, hasn't had much success, and they're a casual guild, so sometimes people can't attend. They have a little bit of turnover of players and only generally have 13 active raiders at any one time. It's an RP server and quite dead. There you go, it's an RP server and quite dead. Now, what we have here is the case of the motivated raider. I have some really good friends. Happens in real life as well. I'm really motivated. I have real life friends who aren't motivated in the same goals. What the fuck do I do? And he's a raid leader and an officer. And they've had to cancel some raids. If you're cancelling raids, the acceptable amount of cancelled raids is like 1. If I'm in a guild and we're cancelling raid after raid, like if it gets to 2, I'm thinking about moving off. Because that's just wasting my time. If I've said to Emma, I'm raiding tonight. I'm raiding tonight. I've set aside that block of time, just like you would go to the pub, you would go to a football match, like you would go and do any hobby. That's how we treat World of Warcraft. I have my hobby thing to do tonight. I've set aside that time, and blah, 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 and, you know, whoever doesn't turn up, and we cancel the raid, I'm kind of pissed off that I've dedicated that time away. So, cancelling a couple of raids, more than he likes. Some people don't mind. I've had to cancel raids in the past as a raid leader. Something happened, too many people just couldn't show up, it happens, okay? We'll have to cancel the raid. And I hate it. I hate it. That's not why I log in. I've dedicated this time to play. And there will be people in your raid who are like, I don't like this. But there'll also be people like, oh, cool, I didn't want to raid anyway. And those are the guys who are like raiding because they're friends with you. They're raiding because they're friends with you. Nothing more, nothing less. They want to raid to play with you. They want to play a game with you. But if we cancel the raid, they're not actually that arsed. I'd rather go out and do something else. And this is where your sort of motivations differ. You differ away from what you want to do. And then you feel like, I don't know what to do. So he's discussed the idea of they want to go 25. Wants to give it a try. Heard some positive things from the channel that 25 should be a good thing. And he's looking for what to do. Now the problem is they need to realm transfer. Which is, you know, that's just the way things go now. We have a very weird situation now in WoW where a lot of servers are dead. They're essentially dead and buried. And you won't, all you can pick up in terms of raiders is generally the scraps. Not to put it too mildly, but people who are either massively underqualified almost to raid in a sort of normal to heroic environment. They're not ready for it yet, but you're having to bring them along. And they haven't learned things like loot rules. I've made sure to point out to a number of people who complained about their first raid as a trial and they were denied loot. Of course you are. You're a trial. Why would a guild throw loot at you while you're under trial? They don't know if they even want you in the guild yet. Of course they're not giving you loot. But people see this as massively unfair. They haven't been through that process yet of, oh, as a trial you generally don't get any items. You just generally don't. That's just not the way it works. If somebody doesn't want something, then they'll probably give it to you, but only if nobody else wants it. But new players, they find that kind of unfair. I need that sword. It's a massive upgrade for me. They don't even know if you want it in the guild. This guy's been here, he's proven himself. He gets it, right? That guy's been here when we progressed this boss. He helped learn how to kill this boss. That's why he gets it over you, who we don't even know what you're like. We barely spoke to you. You passed an application process. I'll talk about that later. So he's wondering what to do. Now, one of the problems with their realm transfer is they're going to lose a lot of friends. And nobody likes that. It's one of the biggest burdens about stopping you guys from achieving what you want to achieve. You want to be a raider. You want to do that. You have the time in your life to do it. You think you're good enough to do it. And that's what you want to do. But you've got these really, really good friends. And they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They're happy to have a raid cancelled every now and again. They don't care. They'll go and do something else. They're not that bothered about pushing hardcore. They don't min-max their characters. They don't even know what the phrase min-max means. It means to get the maximum out of your possible character. That's what it means, okay? For the minimum amount of effort. That's what it means. They don't know about this kind of stuff. They don't want to do. Oh, the new dailies reward some huge upgrade from me? Nah, I can't really be asked. If I was raiding, I would be doing my dailies. As much as I complain about them, they are a natural part of the game. If I was raiding right now, I would be doing my dailies. It's not hypocritical. That's how the game works. Okay? If I was a raider, I would be doing my dailies. That's just part of the game. It's the way it is. So, what does he do? What does he do in this situation? And he wants to go 25. He said, previously, I've never been hugely fond of the idea of 25 rating. I preferred the idea of a close-knit group of friends doing 10-man content. However, watching your dailies talk about the difference between 25 and 10, we should be pushing to move to 25 if we can do it. Many of you can do it. So many of you send me emails about we have 3 teams, 3 raiding teams, 4 raiding teams, even up to 6 and 7 sometimes. You have the players available to you, but it's making that jump because 10's easier to manage. It's not. It's not. Coincidentally, my friend is pretty good at 25, also struggling for numbers, and there's a guild merge opportunity here. Guild merges. Now, this is kind of the subject I want to talk about, because the answer to the original question is easy. If you have other goals than your friends, it's time to make that decision. Add them on Real ID. You can still be friends. In patch 5.2, you can even raid old content with them if you want to. You can do whatever the hell you want cross-realm these days. It's not hard. You can quest, PvP, do whatever the fuck you want. It's no big deal. The big one is about guild merges. I have never seen a successful one that's actually a guild merge. A guild merge indicates 2 parties coming together in a fair and just manner. I have never seen that work. What I have seen work is a guild merge under the same title where 5 people join 30 people and they fucking join their guild. It's not a guild merge in any way, shape or fucking form. Ever. It's not a guild merge. You can call it a guild merge if you want, but it's 5 of the old raid team joining a new guild. That's what it is. That's a realistic guild merge. I've never known a guild merge to work. I've only been through the process once, personally. It didn't work. It didn't work. We absorbed, because we were the larger 25-man guild, while I was not GM. It was my guild Dark Light that I started. I was the raid leader and the GM. After a while, I took a break. I was getting kind of angry, ragey, all that kind of good shit. And I decided to take a break, and when I came back, we had merged with a guild that I knew nothing about. This has all been done while I was taking a break. No problem. I wasn't the GM at the time. It wasn't my decision. And what happened is we absorbed about 10 or 11 players into a 25-man guild. That's kind of half the roster. We had 5 warlocks. That isn't going to work. We had something like 6 shamans. That doesn't work. Guild merges that are actual guild merges very rarely work out. From something as simple as class balance. Class balance causes major problems. If 4 or 5 of your best players all play the same fucking class, you are going to be in trouble, right? You're going to be in trouble because you can't bring all those players to raids. Guess what? One of your friends is going to be left out, if not 2 or 3. People are going to be left out. Guild merges never really work. But the simple thing about we would simply cooperate on raids. No. No, and this is kind of directed at the odd. This is what happens in a guild merge meeting. I've been in these meetings. I've kind of mediated them almost to make sure things were done fair. This is when a guild raiding was kind of a more professional, upstanding thing than it is now. I mean, raiding is kind of easy to just drop in and drop out of now, but when raiding was kind of really, really serious, you did have people you thought were fair, and I was invited to do this a couple of times. And lots of words get thrown around like shared leadership, cooperation, sort of things like this. We'll swap players in and out. It's all lies. It's all bollocks. The bigger guild wins. There is nothing more to it. If you join a larger guild and you are the fewest amount of people, you are going to lose. Badly. I'm serious. You're going to lose. If you're trying to strive for power, the best thing you can do is actually see it for what it is. And as you're a 10-man guild joining a 25-man, the truth of the matter is, those of you who want to join the 25-man will not get a guaranteed raid spot. That won't happen. They will take what they need. People have recruitment for certain classes up for a reason. They don't need you and your group of friends. Most guilds will actively dismiss a group of friends from joining their guild. Hi, we have a Feral Druid, a Guardian Druid, Shadow Priest, and a Warlock, and we're all good friends, and we're all really, really good players, and we want to join your guild. No. We have the best World Vlogs in the world. No. Because if one of you quits, you're all going to quit. We don't need a fucking Guardian Druid. You're not going to replace one of our long-standing tanks. That's not going to happen. All this kind of stuff is the reality of the situation. What I want to tell you, if you are talking about a guild merge, ask yourself this question. Who is the larger guild? Who needs who more? If you're doing the realm transferring, they have a lot more players. Accept that and say, we just want to slot in. I would like an officer spot, but I'm not that bothered. Accept what you're going to get. Who exactly do you need? Check their recruitment posts. If they do not need all the players you're bringing with them, they're not going to bring you to the raid. They're not. They're going to take what they can get and carry on raiding. That's how it works. Okay? There's a lot of things in this about I'm ready to go. And it was, the subject of the email was very personal. I think it's in the chat. Very, very personal. Very much like, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. Do whatever is best for you. If you're being dragged along in a guild merge, is it good for you? Check out the guild. If you suddenly hear, oh, our guild's merging, don't think this is the answer to all my prayers. That's what a lot of people think when it comes to a guild merge. This is what I want. This is the dream come true. You don't want that. You don't want that. You want to understand, hey, would I have been accepted to this guild if I applied? If so, I'm probably in good shape. Did they need my class? Then I'm probably okay. That's it. Nothing more. Guild merge, cooperation, synergy, all this kind of stuff never works out. Things implode, things don't work, especially in the lower level guilds that are slightly less professional. If there's money involved at the higher end, if you look at, say, in Nihilum and SK Gaming, there's money and stuff involved. They lasted a little bit longer than anybody really expected. Okay, the Insidia merge, people weren't really expecting that to work. Eventually it did implode, but there was money involved. People had reason to stick around, and it was all very fun and fresh. But when it's down to the lower level guilds and the mid-level guilds, you're not going to have a really good time. Okay, so if it's a guild merge, and you're asking me about guild merges, what do you think I should do? Do whatever is best for you. If the idea is you go ahead and you can get in this guild, you're going to be okay. As long as you accept, you're going to just be a member of that guild, at best. At best. The bigger guild will win, and that's okay. Yeah, the guild, Zeps just said, a guild merge usually means the larger guild wants 1 to 3 people. They need to recruit a few people to keep their roster nice and full. They don't need 10 people. They don't need 8 people. That's unlikely to be the case. It's unlikely to be the case. You're only going to have a really good time with a guild merge, potentially, if it's 2 10-mans merging together to form a 25-man, and you're not already within the same guild, and you do have some sort of shared cooperation. But ultimately, remember this #1 rule to any potential raid leaders out there. Guild leadership is not a democracy. It's not. Somebody has to have the final say. That's why there is a president. That's why there is a prime minister. As much as things are a democracy at the lower levels, somebody has to say yes or no, and that decision goes. That is what the guild master is there to do, and it's important that you have that. You can't have 2 guild masters. Just look at UK right now. We have a co-prime minister. Nope. Not really. There's only one guy who got to share the Queen's hand, right? We've got co-prime ministers and shit. There's only one guy who went to see the Queen and become the actual prime minister. The other guy can say all he wants. It doesn't really work out that way. That was my last topic for today. I timed that up pretty well, I think. I've got any quick questions before I go. I'm going to do some cabling, and then I'm going to pass out, which I think is pretty awesome. I'm going to go do some cabling for Emma's father, who's just got his internet, and then I'm going to go and do my wonderful stuff. Oh, he's Daisy's bitch. In fact, I'm not going to do questions right now. What I did want to bring up is this. On Thursday's Daily, it's the workshop tomorrow. On Thursday's Daily, we're going to be doing a guild application. We're actually going to go through a guild application. Somebody has sent me their potential guild application to a guild. I'm going to change the names, of course. But I'm going to take you through how you turn your abysmal, bad guild application into one that will get you into a guild. We're going to do it live, okay? I'm going to do that on Thursday. So you should that should be pretty cool. If any of you are looking for new guilds or thinking about it or just generally don't know how to do a guild application, we're going to be doing that, okay? We're going to be doing that and making it look cool and flash. I'm not just going to be editing a Word document. We're going to be taking some little one line of information and making it into something people want to read. Okay, I'm going to be using an actual guild application sent in by one of you guys, so hopefully that'll be pretty good. Alright, so I'll see you tomorrow at 9 AM for the live stream, and I'll also see you at 5 PM for the workshop, okay? We've got the workshop tomorrow. And remember to send in your transmogs. Transmog competition is on Saturday. We'll be giving away a t-shirt with your name on the back and all that good shit. It should be pretty cool, and it's Ghosty's birthday, so remember that. Transmog competition on Saturday. Put them on my website, preachgaming.com, in the forums. Don't email your transmogs to me. It would be bad. Have a good guy. Have a good day. Good guy. My brain's gone. I'm sorry, guys. I've had no sleep for the last couple of days. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, guys? Take it easy, guys.